A recent internet atheist posted on my YouTube channel the following. In your video thumbnail and in your opening paragraph, you kick off things with a fallacy. You can't suggest atheism can be wrong because atheism makes no claims. The atheist position is the rejection of the theist claim. Nothing else. You need to get this straight first up. And Weird Williams follows up with this statement. When did atheism claim to explain or ground anything? Now, in this video, I am going to show why these statements are incoherent and why atheism does need to prove something. Now, my name is Todd, and welcome to Mission Millennial Z Alpha Generations, where we share the other side of the creation story with today's youth. Now, it's amazing. These two statements here are representative of hundreds and thousands that I've seen in my limited foray into the social media world of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you name it. I mean, literally, I'm starting to keep a bank of these and I'm listing them now because there's so many, and I'm going to do a video just on these comments if you're thinking I'm misrepresenting you. Now, if you're an atheist who does believe you need to give objective proof at some level for what you believe, fine, this video is not for you. And kudos to you for being rational in that regard. I met a few here, but not many. So let's look at the video, or actually it was a Facebook post that initiated this particular video, which gave me the idea for it. And here it is. It's from the Creation versus Evolution debate group. A guy named Jack V. Butler posted this. There's not a single religion that can survive these two words. Prove it. Now, before I comment on that, let's just read a couple comments where people responded. And Adam, in line with what I just said earlier about how many atheists believe this, we were never into the proving business. And Virgilio said, we did, but your logic is the problem. Now he gives a illustration here of atheist circular reasoning. I think atheists can get out of that, so I'm not going to open that up. I looked at it and I said, well, I can see how they might get out of that particular argument, although I'm not discounting Virgilio's little theism there, not theism, but his little illustration there. And then Jim says, does this include the religion of atheism? And that's a good question, but he obscures it by using the word religion, because atheists are dead set against the fact that what they believe is a religion. So if you can exempt that word religion, I think that's valid. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is, do atheists need to prove anything? Do they have an objective basis for rejecting the God of creation? And I say most of them don't, by their own words. Now let's look at a definition of what I mean by objective. This is an AI overview. And if you have evidence that this is a wrong definition, post it. Just don't say, I don't agree with this definition, like many of my friends out there seem to do, because I've been posting a number of AI overview definitions because typically they're very good at giving an overview of what something actually means. And here's the overview. Yes, according to the definition of objective, a belief generally needs to be supported by evidence or proof to be considered objective. An objective belief is one that is not influenced by personal opinions or biases, and this typically requires verifiable evidence to substantiate it. Key points to remember. Definition of objective. An objective belief is one that is based on facts and can be verified by others, not just by the individual holding the belief. To claim a belief is objective, you need to be able to provide supporting evidence or logical reasoning to justify. So this down goes the idea that I don't have to give evidence for anything. And I'll speak on this in a second, a little more. Subjective versus objective. Beliefs based on personal feelings, opinions, or interpretations without substantial evidence are considered subjective. Now let's get back to the original quote and talk about that briefly. Mr. Fizbo said, you can't suggest atheism can be wrong because atheism makes no claims. Then if you make no claims, then you have no objective evidence for what you believe. Now, if you say, now let's continue before I make this comment. The atheist position is rejection of the theist claim, nothing else. Now, here's the point. If this is true, my question to you is, are you rejecting our arguments because you don't like them, that subjectively they don't appeal to you, that there's a God that you might have to give account for, or whatever? Are you rejecting it just on your feelings? Or are you looking at our arguments and rejecting them based on sound objective proof that can discount our arguments? Are you? If you are, then you, by your own admission, you need to give objective proof counter arguments to what we're saying. So if atheism doesn't claim to explain or ground anything, it's subjective. It's not objective. You can't hide behind the statement, which I see so many of my atheist friends, many of whom are very good people. And I appreciate your comments. We have good conversations. Many of you do keep it civil, and I appreciate that. But if you can't prove what you're saying with objective proof, then you really have no basis to say anything about what we're believing. And you also just can't hide, and this is the point I was trying to get to, behind some kind of defensive maneuver. Sort of like a boxer who never throws a punch. He's always hiding behind his shoulder. If you know anything about boxing, boxers like to keep their hands up and they put the shoulder, hide behind the shoulder to deflect punches, but they never throw any punches. And those who don't lose, simple as that. And they lose on that one basis alone, that they're not throwing aggressive punches. They're just defending. And the other guy who shows aggression, who's throwing punches, wins by default, if for no other reason, especially if he's landing punches, and he wins by a large majority vote decision. But here's the point. You need to demonstrate that what you have is the truth with the objective arguments. If the only thing you do is show why our arguments are false, okay, at least meet that criteria by giving objective proof. And the only way you can show our arguments are false is by giving objective evidence that contradicts our arguments. So that's all I want to say in this video. It's pure and simple. So I'll leave it at that. I'm trying to keep these, refuting atheists and theists series brief and to the point, and about 5 minutes long, because I like to hit on some of these posts that I'm seeing on Facebook and YouTube and so forth, but it's not worthy of a whole hour. So I think we all agree, if you want to have proof for something, objective proof, then you need to give evidence. If you can't give evidence and you even say you don't need to prove anything, then yeah, hey, in this country, you're in a free country, in a free world mostly, where you can believe whatever you want. So, but it's subjective, just sort of like a desire for chocolate ice cream over vanilla. It's just purely a subjective affair. And so be it. If that's what you want to do, have at it. But if you want to engage on the objective level, please answer the arguments that us theists make with proof, and don't deny you have to give any evidence. So if you want to do that, I'm leaving a link in the description of my theistic versus atheist debate challenge. It has the proposition that I uphold with and the evidence of 2,500 word first speech that you can critique. I give positive evidence for something. You may disagree with it, but you need to give something that you think is more objective in its place, or at least negate it to where you can. Now you can legitimately and intelligently hide behind it. Agnostic. When I say hide, be an agnostic. You can say the evidence is not for or against; it's somewhere between. So if you're in the negative of my proposition, that's fine. You know, the negative of the proposition in my debate speech, and you'll see the proposition there. I'm not going to read it now, but you can, if you can prove that, at least it can substantially prove my proposition. Yeah, in that sense, you don't have to give positive proof. You can just give the negative proof. Now, I'm not going to get into all the dynamics of what a formal debate discussion is all about, but that's it in a nutshell. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.